It happened in a flash. One of those blinding moments when emotion overwhelms sense, when your mouth moves faster than your heart can stop it. In a burst of anger, I snapped. The words tumbled out with venom I didn't even know I had inside me. You can't protect me. You never could. I didn't mean them, not in the way they landed. But they came out sharp, fierce, and unrelenting, forged in a storm of frustration I've been carrying for too long. They weren't just angry words. They were the sound of every buried insecurity clawing its way to the surface, desperate to be heard, even if it meant setting everything on fire just to feel in control. And for a breath, I stood taller, thinking maybe he'd finally fight back. Maybe this would shake him into showing me something, anything. But what I didn't realize then, and what crushes me now, is that he did take them seriously. Too seriously. It all started from something small. A stupid disagreement, like the hundreds before it, where we'd bicker over the dishes, or the way he'd forget to check in, or how I felt invisible sometimes. Maybe it was the pressure of everything piling on, the weight of being exhausted and unheard. Maybe it was my own fear that I didn't know how to voice without wrapping it in barbed wire. But that night, I crossed a line. Why do you never step up? I shouted. Why am I always left to handle everything alone? You can't even keep me safe when it matters. The words echoed, loud and jagged. He didn't respond right away. Just stood there, staring at me like I'd just gutted him. His silence wasn't anger. It was shock. That silence said more than anything he could have yelled back. His expression went pale, drained of all color. I could see the exact moment his heart broke, and I was the one who broke it. He didn't try to argue. He didn't try to fix it. He just turned, walked away, and I let him. I didn't run after him. I didn't apologize. I didn't stop him. I stood there, too stubborn, too wounded in my pride to admit what I'd done. When the door clicked shut behind him, it was like the entire world went still. I stayed frozen, numb, unable to feel anything beyond the ringing silence he left behind. But then the silence grew louder, crushing, inescapable. My words started playing back, over and over, each time cutting deeper. And that's when regret settled in. He didn't come back that night, or the next. I lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling where shadows danced in the corners. I thought of all the nights he held me after bad dreams, of how his arms felt like a place where the world couldn't touch me. I thought of the quiet, thoughtful way he made coffee exactly the way I liked it, or how he always remembered the little things, my favorite movie lines, the look on my face when I was pretending to be okay. 2 days passed before I saw him again. No knock, no message, just him, standing at the edge of the kitchen where I sat staring blankly into a cold cup of tea. But something in his eyes had changed. They weren't warm or angry. They were distant, guarded, like he'd locked something away I would never be allowed near again. I've packed my things, he said quietly. I'm staying with a friend for a while. The words hit like a brick to the chest. I opened my mouth to speak, but nothing came out. I wanted to cry, to throw myself at him, to scream that I didn't mean it, that I was scared, not ungrateful, that I lashed out because I didn't know how to say help me. But I'd waited too long, and he had already let go. Please don't go, I whispered, but he did. He turned, walked to the door, and disappeared all over again. This time, for real. It's been a week now. The silence hasn't softened. It's only deepened. The house feels like a mausoleum, every room echoing with the absence of his presence. I sit on the edge of our bed and imagine what it was like before I tore it all apart with a single sentence. I've tried calling, texting, even drafted long, desperate messages I never had the courage to send, but there's been no response. Nothing. Just the hollow knowing that this might be the end. I think of all the times he stayed when I wasn't easy to love, the way he listened when I was falling apart, how he made space for me even when I didn't know how to ask. He was the calm in my chaos, and I mistook his quiet strength for weakness. But now I see it, clear as day. His love wasn't loud or showy. It was steady, constant, protective in ways I never appreciated until it was gone. His love was my shelter. I just didn't recognize it until I burned it down. And when he walked away, he didn't slam doors or scream or curse me out. He left like someone who had been hurt too deeply to stay. Someone who finally accepted that love couldn't live in a place where it was doubted. Now I lie awake night after night, haunted not by what he said, but by what I did. The look on his face as I tore him down. The finality in his voice when he said goodbye. The unbearable silence that followed. If you're reading this, if you've ever raised your voice and said something cruel just to feel heard, remember this. Words aren't harmless. They leave bruises you can't see. They build walls between hearts. And sometimes they end things you thought could never break. I didn't mean what I said, but it doesn't matter anymore because he's gone, and I'm the one who drove him away.